Welcome back to Court TV Live. New emerging details are coming out when we're looking at the death investigation of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. The teen disappeared February 26th after she didn't make it to school that day. Her body was found several days later on March 1st in a wooded area.
Her mother's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns, is charged with Madeline's murder. He was questioned by police when she was missing. And we're going to bring you some of that audio-only interview in just a minute. But first, here is Court TV anchor Judge Ashley Wilcott with a look at the case.
Stephan Sterns is accused of murdering 13-year-old Madeline Soto, his girlfriend's daughter. Madeline went missing on the morning of February 26th, and her mother, Jennifer, spoke to WFTV the next day.
I feel like I can't breathe. All I keep thinking about is, where is she? Is she safe?
Jennifer says she realized something was wrong when she went to pick Madeline up from school, and she wasn't there.
I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner.
According to Sterns, he dropped Madeline off in a church parking lot next to her middle school. He also spoke to WFTV the day she went missing.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away. So last time we saw her, she was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out. I love her. Said thanks, love you too. That was it.
Police began to suspect Sterns as they investigated and looked for Madeline. And when they examined his phone, investigators say they found videos and images of sexual abuse of Madeline.
During our forensic investigation, we uncovered disturbing evidence, graphic images, and videos depicting crimes being committed. It was during this examination that we learned we needed to act swiftly to remove the suspect, Stephan Sterns, from our streets.
2 days after Madeline went missing, Sterns was arrested and charged with 60 child sex crimes. On March 1st, Madeline's body was found in a wooded area off of a 2-lane road, 40 minutes from where Madeline lived with her mom and Sterns. And on April 24th, Sterns was charged with first-degree murder. He pleaded not guilty.
The evidence shows an individual that was entrusted to keep Madeline safe made calculated moves to dispose Madeline's belongings and place her body in a wooded area before she was ever reported missing.
Investigators say Madeline was never dropped off or near her school. Surveillance video allegedly shows Sterns returning to the family's apartment complex the morning she disappeared with Madeline visible in the car. Detectives believe she was already dead.
We know this case has gained significant public attention because Madeline had just celebrated her 13th birthday and was just a child. The indictment signifies a crucial step forward in our quest for justice.
Heartbreaking case. Before Madeline Soto's body was found, police questioned Stephan Sterns about the teen. The audio-only interview happened just 24 hours after she was reported missing and before, of course, that disturbing content was found on his phone.
In this hour, we are going to bring you this audio-only interview. Let's listen together.
Case number 24-11313. Today's date is February 27, 2024. The time is 19:16 hours. We're in Kissimmee speaking with Stephan Sterns. Okay, so I know that you already spoke to the other detective, right, about everything that kind of happened today. If you can just kind of go over it with us one more time, the timeline from like when you guys woke up and took her to school and all that.
So we woke up early. The plan was that we were going to get McDonald's breakfast on the way, so we made amazingly good time getting out.
I don't mean to interrupt you, okay? Neither of us were here yesterday, so if you can be kind of like specific about like times and stuff like that, okay?
Woke up around 7:15, somewhere around there, which is an early start for us, but we had talked about getting McDonald's breakfast beforehand, so we wanted to make good time. We did make good time. We got out the door maybe 7:30ish, 7:45ish, maybe. Got over to that area. She was asleep in the car most of the time, just snoozing until we got there. We got to McDonald's. We're close to McDonald's. I said, "Do you still want it?" She wasn't interested in the McDonald's anymore, so we continued on. And she wanted to be dropped off a little down the ways from the school. She's got this phase that she's been into lately where she's very particular about what car she's seen getting out of in front of the school. My cars are, I guess, kind of hoopties. I get it. It's an image thing. But that was sometime probably between 8:20 and 8:40-ish. Somewhere in there. It was along this stretch of the road that on the right side that has all the communities on it. Before you get to the overpass. You could see the overpass from where it was. So it was on that side, on that stretch of road, and that's where I dropped her off. She said she was going to go wait for her friends. She was going to find them and hang out and wait for her friends. And I asked if that was going to be okay. She said, yeah, it's fine. Kids get dropped off early enough as it is. It's not totally unusual for that to happen. It's just not usually that early that I drop her off. I do school runs every once in a while for her. I said, okay. Let her out. Have a good day. Love you. Thanks. Love you too. And I turned around and was driving away and was watching her in my rearview mirror to make sure that she was going where she was supposed to go. And she was moving in that direction, but she was rummaging around in her backpack or something. What I assumed was probably headphones or something like that, but I find out later that she forgot her phone here, so she may have been rummaging for her phone. But she was still kind of making her way towards that direction, so it looked okay. It looked like any other day. And I just continued on.
Okay. When you said you dropped her off, like, in the area, kind of like where exactly did you drop her off?
So if you pull down the street going towards the school, you've got that whole strip of communities on the right side there. It was in that stretch of sidewalk there. We pulled in and maybe about halfway up the street or so, and she was like, right here's good.
Was it like in one of the apartment complexes, the church?
Not in, it was outside one of the apartment. It was just on the sidewalk on the side of the road there. Just like a tuck and roll, you know?
Okay, so like if I were to be on the road, where,
with the maps,
like what do you remember seeing that you dropped her off at?
I remember the overpass was up ahead. The sidewalk was on the right, row of trees. There's, I think, a median in the middle. And then there was another community maybe across from that before you get to the church. So it was like before the church.
So Town Loop Boulevard's that street that connects to the school.
Yeah.
Is that the street that you...
Is this, which one?
So that's Town Loop Boulevard, right? That's the one that...
And where's the school located here?
The school's right here.
School's right there. Okay, so the school would be on the left in this case. Here's the overpass
you guys came from this
about.
side?
Yeah, we came from Town Loop, I think, which is Town Center, yeah. So we made a right here and then pulled somewhere about...
So you came from Town Center and turned onto Town Loop.
Yeah, where's the church? Is this the church here?
There is a, yep, so, that's the church.
Okay, so we weren't up to the church yet. So we were pulled onto here, and then we pulled maybe about halfway up here, and I dropped her off somewhere in this area here.
And she walked from there to the school?
Yeah.
It's a pretty long way.
It's maybe a block or so, but it's not out of the ordinary for her. She likes to do that sometimes. She likes the cold weather. She was wearing her hoodie. She likes the cold walks.
So you dropped her off near Lilac? Does that sound right?
Yeah, it wasn't at a cross street. It was just a bit of the sidewalk there.
So did you merge into the sidewalk, or did you stop in the middle of the street, or?
I just pulled over to the sidewalk there and let her hop out.
How often do you drop her off?
This might be the 5th or 6th time I've ever done it.
Okay, and when you drop her off, where do you normally drop her off at?
Normally down the street from the school. She requests that a lot.
Like the same area or somewhere else?
Especially if it's sometimes in the church parking lot, sometimes just wherever she tells us to let her out. As long as it's close, you know.
So it was halfway between Town Loop and Town Center and the church?
Yeah, it's just in this stretch right here. Like we got about maybe halfway up and was there.
All right, Stephan Sterns trying to spin a story to investigators early on while Madeline Soto was still missing. Cannon Kearney, for jurors, hearing someone tell a very detailed, nonchalant lie is infuriating, especially when you're talking about the death of a 13-year-old. And likely they're going to hear some or all of this when his trial begins.
Yet, here's a detailed, ambiguous story. I mean, he was never able to give a specific spot. Every spot that he appeared to be saying that he dropped her off at was like a dark spot, so it wasn't directly in front of an apartment complex where they would normally have a camera. It wasn't directly at a cross street where if there was some form of light, there would be a camera. So it seems as if he is very, very much so ambiguous on how he's giving these details to the police. Also, as you stated, this will most likely be put on the stand. The mother will be put on the stand. So she will have to corroborate whether or not she knows of the daughter or the victim being dropped off early. She'll have to corroborate whether she's ever dropped her off at the church, as he said. So all of these different things are tangible that and can be actually the fact finder can find out if he's being truthful. So many times people lie thinking that there isn't going to be another time that this is going to be heard, but his time in court is definitely on its way.
Yeah, you mentioned his girlfriend, the mother of the child. A lot of people have questioned whether she should just be a witness or she should have faced some charges in this case. We're going to get to a break, but we have more of the questions and answers from Stephan Sterns in that police interview after this.
Sport TV Live along with Julia Janae. I'm Ted Rollins. This hour we are looking at the case against defendant Stephan Sterns. He faces the possibility of the death penalty if he's found guilty of the murder of his girlfriend's daughter, Madeline Soto.
Sterns also faces 60 other charges related to child sex crimes after police say he was abusing Madeline for years. The 13-year-old went missing February 26th. The next day, police interviewed Sterns.
We've been listening to this interview. It's audio only, and a reminder, this was done before the teen's body was found.
The McDonald's that you guys were going to stop at, did you pull into the plaza at any point?
No, she 86'd the idea before we even got there.
What do you mean by 86?
Poo-pooed the idea, didn't want it anymore.
Okay.
Wasn't in the mood anymore.
At any point while you were driving to the school, did you make a U-turn?
Yeah, I tried to sell her on McDonald's one more time because I was still kind of hungry, but at that point she was also just wanting to get to school.
Okay,
so
where?
Turned right back around.
Where did you make that U-turn at?
Actually, the school park, not the school parking lot, the church parking lot. I pulled into that, turned around and pulled back out. Did a U-turn there and went back to the McDonald's. And she still wasn't having it. And that's when we came back. See, the McDonald's is on the same town loop or town center. It connects to the same road that the
school's on?
Yeah, so it's like a straight shot.
So you guys came from, just so I can kind of get a good visualization, town center, and where did you come from, town center?
Town center, so where's the McDonald's? I'm so bad at reading these, I'm sorry. So we
this
came,
is all town center.
So we came across on town loop, I believe. Is that the school is that the road that the school is on?
No, this is town center. Okay. So you said you were on town center and then you made a right on town loop, which is the one that takes you to the school.
Yes, correct.
Right.
I think you passed it.
But what I'm saying is before town loop, or I'm sorry, for town center, what street did you take?
I'm so sorry. I'm bad with the streets around here.
How do you usually get to the school?
I just take John Young and then wait till I see the McDonald's and make a left there and then follow that around, and that goes straight into the road that the school is on. I just use the landmarks, and I don't memorize the street names.
Is that JYP?
So this is JYP.
the McDonald's, you turn right.
And then you said you made a left at the McDonald's? So that's John Young Parkway, you're going north on John Young?
McDonald's, and then go around, and then that shoots straight into the road that she's on.
Okay. Because that's...
I believe that's the correct road.
Yeah, well, that's the fastest way to get there, but you told me you came from Town Center and Town Loop.
I'm sorry, I don't know the street names.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
so,
I'm doing my best.
That's okay. So now that we know that you came from John Young Parkway and you made a left on Town Loop, so you passed the McDonald's.
Yeah, that was when she said no to McDonald's the first time.
Okay. So you guys keep on going on Town Loop.
Yeah. But at that point, we still had a lot of time to kill. Very early.
So what did you guys do?
Drove towards the school, made a U-turn, came back, tried to do the McDonald's thing again. She didn't want it.
So where did you, one more time, where did you do the U-turn at?
It probably was right by the church because it was still way too early for school. So it was on that stretch of road. I mean, they had the meeting there and a separation, so that left turn where the church is, to make the U-turn there.
All right, let's bring back in trial attorney Cannon Kearney, who's listening along with us. Cannon, it seems like he is being detailed. I mean, we know what we know, but what do you think police are picking up on while he's talking? Do you think that they are just taking a record so that they can find Madeline, or are they already thinking this is our suspect?
Well, based on what we just heard, Julia, it seems as if there was some form of not altercation, but there was a disagreement at the bare minimum about McDonald's. So in that in itself, a police officer could use that to say, okay, so we have a missing child. We have an individual who was supposed to be taking the child to school. We have now him indicating that there was a disagreement between the two on the way to school. So they could be using that to build the case against him. At this point, he would be the best person or the best witness or the best person to bring in for questioning because he was the last person to see her. So based on what we just heard in that police interview, I would think that their antennas definitely went up when he indicated that there was an issue with McDonald's.
This is a potential death case, meaning the jury will be death qualified during voir dire. The only people on the panel are going to be people that articulate that they are willing to enact the death penalty, to recommend the death penalty in a case that is deserving of it in their mind. It changes the complexity of a jury and the makeup of a jury because now you're dealing with more conservative people by nature, I guess, or people that are law and order. They want, it just gives you a different type of juror. And now you throw in the allegations against this guy, which include these, these sexual allegations towards a minor. This is the case that I wouldn't want to be Stephan Sterns on the back end of this thing because just the allegations alone and listening to him speak, when you know now what we know, it's infuriating. It makes your blood boil, and the same thing's going to happen to a jury.
Definitely, Ted. It's clear by just looking at him that he's older than 13. I mean, based on his age, we look like we could have went to the same high school. So any juror who's going to see that he had some form of sexual relationship with this child, any juror who's going to hear that the child slept in the bed with this grown man, that is going to infuriate them. We're talking about Florida, so this is a state that's known to be retirement conservative, older individuals in the community. That would sicken them. I mean, I'm sickened by it. I'm not retired and elderly, but at the end of the day, it's clear that those issues on itself, with the death of a child, a teenager who just turned 13, it's going to be a very much an uphill battle for this defendant.
Wow, it's the worst details that you can imagine, and you're right. It's going to be very difficult for a jury not only to make a decision, but to even have to sit through these details in a case like this. Ken and Kernley, thank you for those analysis. Let's get to a break. We'll get you back in for more of this police interview of Stephan Sterns after this.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, a defendant attacks a judge, but was he legally insane at the time? We'll break down today's developments as this trial gets underway.
Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV. Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
Okay.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. This hour, we are looking into the investigation of someone who's accused of the murder of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. It's her mother's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns, and he is charged with her murder.
The teen disappeared in February of this year, and her body was found 5 days later in the woods. Let's go back for more of this audio interview that the police did with Sterns. This is while Madeline is still missing, and he's going into great detail about where he was with her, dropping her off at school, and the jury eventually is going to be able to hear this and say, oh, he was lying the whole time. Let's listen.
After you dropped her off, what did you do?
Stayed, talked to her for a minute. I made sure, you know, is it all right that you're going early? Because it was still early. She said, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to hang out and wait for my friends to get there, which she does sometimes, so it didn't sound, you know, outrageous or anything. And that was it. Told her to have a good day. I loved her. She told me she loved me too. I turned around to leave, and I was watching her in my rearview mirror. She looked like she was walking in the right direction. She was rummaging in her bag a little bit, like I said, but still sort of just shambling in the right direction while she was doing it. So it looked normal. It looked okay.
Okay, and then what did you do after you left the area?
I left to go to the local vape shop because I needed some more vape juice. They weren't quite open yet, so I ended up going back home, hung out with Jen for a little while, waited about an hour or so, and then went back and checked the vape shop again. It was open, so I got what I needed there, and came back home and hung out with Jen again for a while.
Do you remember what time you came home?
The first time was probably right around 10, close to it, and then I waited here and went back to the vape shop, probably finished at the vape shop and came back home again a little after 11.
Okay. You said the first time that you hung out with Jen for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Was Jen here when you got here at 10? Okay.
I think so. She might have been at her blood appointment. Let me double check. I know she had a blood appointment at some point during the day.
It's okay. We don't have to ask her right now.
Sorry, everything's a blur.
So she might have been here. She might have not have been here the first time.
I believe she was here because she was sleeping in as much as she possibly could because she's been messed up with a new work schedule. So she had to be here because she didn't want to sleep in.
Okay.
I'll double check, but yeah, I believe she was here.
And then what time did you say you left again to the smoke shop?
Maybe after an hour or so, maybe 11 or so.
Okay. And then what time did you get to the smoke shop?
It's maybe 10 minutes away, so not long after that. Stopped in, got some juice, and...
What's the name of the smoke shop?
East Smoke Broadway.
Okay.
It's just over off of John Young. It's not far from the school.
And then after the smoke shop, what did you do?
Came home, yeah.
Okay, for how long?
At least until maybe 12:30, 12:45-ish, something like that.
And then what'd you do after that?
I had a couple errands to run over on 192. She was talking talking about making a BJ shopping list. She just wanted to make sure I was back in time for us to both go pick. So I was visiting some card shops around the area on 192. I'm kind of a nerd, so we had a new trading card game release, and I was seeing what the situation was with it.
Do you remember what places you visited?
Yeah, Coliseum of Comics. Stopped by a couple Targets, and I was going to go to House Rules Games down by Oak and 192. But I didn't make it that far. I got a flat tire on the way.
Do you remember where you got your flat tire?
It was on 192. I pulled into one of those plazas somewhere. It's been about 10 years since I switched out a tire, though, so I made a lot of rookie mistakes and ended up pinning my thumb between the frame and the jack. Yeah, I'm lucky it's not a lot worse than it could have been.
Do you remember the name of the plaza by any chance? Do you remember like what stores were in this plaza?
It was like right before you got to Oak, though, so it was one of those little strips.
Okay. And then
but I did not make it back in time because of that. I thankfully had the spare. I put that on and tried to get back in time, but caught every red light on the way, and she ended up leaving out. I was about 10 minutes late on it. So I called her and let her know what happened. Apologized profusely because I had promised I'd be there with her to go pick her up. Just sat and waited. After that, she had already gone to get her, so I just sat and waited and hung out, straightened up the house a little bit. And that was it. Then we got the call.
What do you mean you got the call?
I got the call from her that had not come out. So we started getting worried. Started making the calls to her family. Be on the lookout. She might be walking to you. That's just when everything sort of started going downhill.
All right, Stephan Sterns, in his own words, telling an elaborate lie, according to prosecutors, about his whereabouts and his interactions with Madeline the day that she went missing. Cannon Kearney, the problem with talking to investigators when you've committed a horrible crime is that everything you say can and will be used against you.
Yeah, Ted. And it's pretty clear that he's putting a lot of facts out there for the investigators to fact check. So, okay, you had a spare tire. Does the car that we have for you at your home, does it have a spare tire? Okay, you say you went by a strip mall. Do we see that vehicle on a video surveillance near the strip mall? I think he said he went to a comic store. He went to a smoke shop or a bait shop. He's been to a lot of different places, and each of these places should have someone who can ID him as being there at a specific time on that date, somewhere in the vicinity of what his story says. And it's pretty clear he's left himself very, very small, thin amount of rope to hang on, because each of these places should be able to verify whether or not he actually was there.
Yeah, Cannon, it almost seems like he's too detailed, remembers too well, which sometimes investigators pick up on. If there's too many details that you're offering that normally people would know exactly where they went in what order, then they may have that issue. There's also a point where he uses, it seems, the past tense. He says, we loved each other, or something in the past tense about referring to Madeline. Investigators listen for those things, especially when they go back and listen to that interview back.
Agreed, especially in this moment, if we think about where we are with the defendant as with the police. The child hadn't been found yet, so she isn't necessarily a victim, or she isn't necessarily someone who's dead. So now that he's using the past tense, that's like, oh, wow. Why would you say love? You just dropped her off at school. We're looking for her. So that is something that they definitely would pick up on. And I'm assuming that will come up in the charging instruments as well as when they do take it to trial.
Here's Jen Soto, mom, talking about the reason that Stephan Sterns dropped her not at school, but before school, because she didn't like his car.
She got dropped off. She was like, so she couldn't barely just play his car. So she didn't want to be dropped off at school. She wanted to be dropped off like half a block away so she can walk.
It's an image thing. She's in the face.
But he dropped her off half a block away and drove away.
Okay. Did she ever go to school though?
No, we called school.
She was walking in that direction. She was rifling through her backpack, just looking for something. I thought maybe she was just looking for headphones before she got her walking on.
Yeah.
But she was just kind of, shambling over in that direction. It looked the same as any other morning.
No charges for mom at this point.
I know, but seeing him in the background with his hat on backwards, just chiming in with tidbits here, it's crazy. People do these things and then they act so cool as they're trying to lie.
And we see it all play out later. We have to get to a break. Ken and Kearney, thank you so much for all of your analysis this hour and breaking down this case with us. We're going to keep looking at this police interview, how his story evolves as police are asking him those questions. It's on the other side of this quick break. Stay with us. You're watching Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. Thank you for following along with us this afternoon. We are in Florida, where the details are emerging in the death investigation of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. She's a teen who just turned 13. She was reported missing earlier this year after she never made it home from school. Her mother's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns, was the last person to see her alive. He admits that. He said that he allegedly dropped her off at school that morning. Now, during the investigation into her disappearance, police found disturbing content on Stephan Sterns' phone and arrested him on charges of sexual battery and possession of a child sexual abuse material. Days later, little Soto's body was found, and quickly after that, Stephan's was charged with Madeline's murder. Before all of that, though, Stephan Sterns sat down with police. He went over the morning with them when she was a missing person. So let's take a listen back to where we left off.
Is it normal for her to not have her phone?
Unfortunately, she's severely ADHD, as am I. So it is not uncommon at all, and in fact, very usual thing for her to forget things. She'd forget her head if it wasn't screwed on. And we're forgetful about, writing her about that. We'll remind her, and then it will leave our mind, and she'll say okay, and then it will leave her mind.
And is she on medication for this, though?
Normally, yes. She's been staying with her grandparents a lot this week. So she has not been getting her meds a lot.
Okay.
So she was really spacing.
Where?
Disney. Concierge in Cornell.
What changed in her hours that she needs all this space?
She's training, so it's not a set schedule yet.
Okay.
It's just early this day, late closing training this day.
So different hours. Yeah, no, that takes a toll.
So I came up here. She needed help. I split my time between the two places. I needed a visit. We all needed to be a little happier together. So
This is a great thing. Joe, I think. Just talented, Joe.
And where's the McDonald's?
Right.
So that doesn't make sense. Right? Because the school's up here?
Am I messing up the streets again?
Yeah, tell me. Because this one's town center, but town loop.
We're just trying to figure out your direction of travel, right?
I'm so sorry. I'm so bad with that area over there, Hunters Creek.
You said you made a U-turn at the church to go see if she wanted McDonald's again, correct?
Yes.
Did you go anywhere else? Because I know you said you had time to kill.
Yeah.
Did you guys go anywhere else?
No, we didn't go anywhere else.
Is there a reason why you would be back on John Young Parkway?
When we tried to go back to McDonald's a second time, we would have made a left over there instead and just looped around again.
What do you mean?
Just made a circle.
Made a circle house. Can you show me on the map? So this is the McDonald's right here, right?
McDonald's.
That's the McDonald's right there.
Correct. So going back down and then just straight shot back down.
You would come down this way?
I can't read the map. I'm so sorry.
Yep, I'll go.
Where's the McDonald's?
The McDonald's is right here. This is Town Loop. So this is Jungyang Parkway. You guys are coming up
This is the
Jungyang.
McDonald's.
Yep.
And the school's on this corner?
Correct. Somewhere over here. So we come back out here, there, and then we can take a straight shot back down to the school again there. They connect. Town Loop and Town Center connect.
Right.
So where did you make the U-turn?
The U-turn was on the street when we were going to go back to McDonald's. So we drove down to McDonald's here.
All right, so just so I don't get confused. You're going up Jungyang Parkway, right? You're going northbound.
Originally, yes.
Right. You make a left at the McDonald's.
Here, go towards the school.
Okay. How far did you get before you made the U-turn? So
we got. Is this the school right here?
Yep, that's Town Loop.
So we got up to here and then made a U-turn over here, past the median.
Okay. So.
And back to McDonald's.
On Lincoln Town Loop.
Still time to kill. She still didn't want the McDonald's, but I did give her a raspberry and cheese Danish.
So did you go through the drive-thru? Did you go inside?
No, didn't go inside.
Where did you get the Danish from?
The Antonins that I brought from home. I gave her a couple of those from home.
Okay.
So she wasn't without food totally. So we just continued past it again and turned around and said, screw it, just drop you off early.
Okay, so you came back around to the McDonald's.
And then right onto the school.
Is that back on Jungyang Parkway?
Yeah, back on the Jungyang Parkway. It comes down here. And then here's Town Center again.
So then you took Town Center. Yes. The second time around?
Yes, and then made a right down to the school.
Do you remember what time you dropped her off?
I estimated it to be sometime between 8:20, 8:40.
Are you on your phone? Do you have Google Maps?
I do, but I wasn't mapsing it.
When you're giving her rides, does she sit in the front or the back?
She sits in the front.
Do you mind if I look at your maps real quick?
Yeah, that's fine.
And just to confirm also, you said, so the second time around, you said you went up Jungyang Parkway, you went through Town Center this time, made a right on Town Loop, and then you said you dropped her off.
Right here in this stretch here. Yeah.
Around this area, okay. Which was before the underpass?
Correct, before the underpass, just before the church. The church was ahead on the left, the underpass was just beyond that, the school was just on the other side of the underpass. So maybe
on the left-hand side?
Maybe a block away.
Okay. And you said that that's typical of her to walk that distance?
Yeah, she likes the morning walks when it's cool. She doesn't like being seen getting out of certain cars. Being a middle schooler, it's an image thing. And she will sometimes like to hang out and wait for her friends. She's known to do that.
Do you mind if I just take a picture of your history?
Yeah, that's fine.
And that time would have been, you said around
8:20-ish, 8:30, sometime between 8:20 and 8:40.
What time does she go into class?
She has to be there no later than 9:15. Doors open at 8. Doors open at 9, I think. And then school officially starts around 9:20 or 9:28, I think.
Okay. And when you dropped her off, is that earlier than typical, later than typical, around the same time?
Earlier than typical. Really? We had made really good time that morning, and with the subtraction of McDonald's, we had more time than usual.
Okay.
But she said it was okay. She was very confident, convincing that it would be fine.
And you saw what direction she walked to after you dropped her?
Yeah, it looked like she was moving towards the direction of the school like she was supposed to.
Was she still on the right side of the road, or did she cross over?
She was when I left her, yeah, she was still on the right side.
What kind of phone is this?
S23 Ultra.
I don't know how to work this thing.
I barely know how to work it myself.
I'm an iPhone person. Is it okay if I go in your settings real quick? I just want to see if you're logged on to your Google.
I am not logged on to my Google with that, actually.
Is it okay if I check?
Yeah.
Does she have any other devices besides that phone? Any other electronics?
She had her school laptop with her.
Is that still supposed to be with her?
Still supposed to be with her, yes.
And what kind of book bag was she carrying?
Black book bag with like grayish blue hibiscus flowers on it, like a print.
When she leaves in the mornings, where does she usually put her phone?
Either in her backpack or like her back pocket. Kind of wherever she just thinks to put it at the time.
Hold on, I don't know how to use this phone. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
I don't know, you've probably been asked already, but she's never ran away or been away for longer than a certain period of time, amount of time, nothing like that.
I think she'd know what to do if she did run away. She's not the type. She's a good kid.
Besides the ADHD, is she diagnosed with anything else?
She was tested a while back and had some symptoms of autism, so she's potentially on the spectrum there.
Okay.
She was officially diagnosed with it when she was younger, and then she was retested and said, well, she shows symptoms of being on the spectrum, but maybe not full-on autistic.
Stephan Sterns seeming to have a lot of information about Madeline. He had broken up with her mother, Jennifer, at the time, was on again, off again, moving in and out of their apartment, but he was with her, admittedly, that day when she went missing. Coming up, we're going to listen to more because Sterns is questioned about his search efforts to find Madeline in the hours just after her disappearance. More from this police interview next.
Go ahead. Hit me. Bam.
Two celebrities reveal their turbulent relationship to the world.
He was just Hollywood's mega hunk. The man who beat me up for 5 years.
The general public sees this, and all they see is wife beater. Two completely different versions of what was happening. That means one thing: somebody's lying.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rollins. New season premieres Sunday night, 8/7 Central.
Only on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are in Florida this afternoon looking at the case against defendant Stephan Sterns. He's accused of killing 13-year-old Madeline Soto back in February of this year. He was dating her mother, Jennifer, and had allegedly dropped Soto off at school the morning that she went missing, but she never returned home. Now, 24 hours after she went missing, police questioned Stephan Sterns about the teen that he had been tasked with driving. Now, when we're listening back to this audio interview, you may hear some drops in the audio. This was redacted for minor names before it was provided to the public. So take a listen. If you hear that, that's likely Madeline's name being said.
Is this what you use to go places?
Yes. Go places, search addresses, look at store hours, write reviews. It's a pretty new phone, though. had any updates?
We literally have like 50 people right now on scene looking. I don't know if there's any updates. The best person would be the other detective because he's the one that is in charge of all this.
I've eaten anything since yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys were.
When did you come back to help Jen? Is that her name?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like, because you live down south, right? Mm-hmm. When did you come back up north to help her?
I just got here this weekend.
Do you remember what day it was?
Sunday was her birthday party, so yeah, it was the evening after her birthday party, Sunday.
Okay. Do you remember what time you got here on Sunday?
8:30ish, maybe.
Okay.
Just in time to make sure that she was doing all her nighttime routines.
You live in North Pole, right?
Yeah, I split my time between the two.
Is that
places. Split my time between the two.
Is that Broward County or?
Sarasota County, I believe, okay. Or Charlotte County, either way. It's my parents' house. They're old. They need help these days. They got a house full of poodles. It's chaos. So I needed to come back up here and just get away from that. Between two deaf old people yelling at each other and poodles yapping all the time, it's enough to drive anyone up a wall. I was very happy to be back here.
Did you, when you guys were looking for you guys look?
Me and her stayed local. It was all the rest of the family that mobilized and was beating the bushes. And
did you guys drive together or separate?
I don't think we drove anywhere when we were looking.
You didn't drive anywhere?
Not that I recall.
Did you guys go anywhere last night? Is that media?
Maybe. I think Fox 35 or something.
Yeah, if it is, let me tell them to move the paper down.
Okay.
I don't recall. You have to ask her if we went anywhere. I don't recall. I was so zonked out on Ativan at that point. Okay. I was a wreck. I don't.
And this would have been when?
Yes, thank you.
I don't recall us going anywhere last night, but honestly, at that point my brain was mush and I was on so many tranquilizers to keep me stable. I was just.
You said Ativan?
Yeah.
Do you usually take that, or?
Yeah, I have a prescription. I haven't needed it in a long time, though. But
what's that for?
Anxiety.
Okay.
I was having these rolling panic attacks and breaking down crying, and I just.
Oh, you got one. Sorry.
Thank you. And it was the only way I could get to sleep last night. This afternoon. That's why I missed your calls. I'm sorry. I took an Ativan and conked out for a few hours. It's the only time when I'm not crying.
Let's get some reaction to this police interview from before Madeline Soto's body was found. Our guest this hour is National Trial Attorney Michael Jaffer. Michael, thank you so much for being with us. Tell me about what you are hearing. I mean, we're listening to Stephan Sterns, we're listening to his voice, his affect, and there at the end, he's drawing some emotion, talking about not being able to sleep, taking medication, being zonked out. Your thoughts?
Complete sociopath, right? Because when you look at this case and when you understand it and when you look at all the evidence against them and just the timeline of her disappearance and the evidence and the surveillance and the factory reset, you're looking at a complete sociopath, right? I mean, his own father called the police unsolicited and told them, I want to give you an old a tower or computer that my son used to use. And they found child pornography on that. Just complete sociopath, complete mental problems. I think he's completely cooked. This is one of the cases where I commend my colleague attorneys for taking on this representation. This is the most difficult type of representation for a defense attorney. They've got their work cut out for them. This is going to be one of the ones where when I look at the case, I'm going to look at it admirably towards the defense attorneys for even taking this case and for going through it. I know how difficult it is to represent sociopaths like this guy, but the evidence is completely grotesque. Julia, when I first started analyzing cases for Court TV, I'd ask some of my colleagues there, how do you guys handle having to work sometimes with some of these fact patterns? And, you know, it's difficult. It's a challenge because people can tune this out, but this is very difficult. Some people can't tune it out, like the investigators who investigated this and went through it and found her body. I mean, you commend these people for doing this public service.
Absolutely.
There is an amount of money in the world you can pay somebody.
Right, even to know the evidence that's there, and these jurors at some point are going to have to see that if it goes to trial. Michael J. for stand by. We are going to get to a break, but we have to look into this police interview further. It's done with Stephan Sterns after she went missing, and he starts to ask the officer about updates that they may have heard. That's next on Court TV. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. Thank you for being with us. We are still in Florida this hour. We're continuing our coverage of the murder of Madeline Soto, and we're looking closely at the case against Stephan Sterns. He's the man accused of killing her. We're continuing our close look at a key piece of evidence in the case, the police interview that was done just 24 hours after Madeline went missing. We're listening to him answer questions and tell police where he last saw her, what she was doing, and some of the issues he's been having emotionally. Take a listen.
So we're trying to get just a good idea, times, all that stuff.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm giving my best recollections. I'm not a morning person as it is. So a lot of the times are best guess.
But we know that you go up Jungyang Parkway down. That's the road you usually take to take her. And then you make a left at that McDonald's, right? Which is the town loop.
You can make a left to get there either at the McDonald's or at Town Center itself. They both lead to the school.
So if you leave her at, just so you get a sense of direction, Jungyang Parkway goes northbound and southbound. So you're going northbound into Orange County, making a left at the McDonald's, which is the town loop. You said when you did drop her off at that medium, you said it was around 8:20 to 8:30-ish, somewhere around that time?
Somewhere in there, yeah. It was early, but not like outrageously early, you know?
So what would you estimate when you made a left at that McDonald's to be?
After I dropped her off?
No, I'm saying when you dropped her off.
First left by that McDonald's.
Yeah, when you first go, that first left that you make at the McDonald's.
It had to have been around maybe 8, maybe quarter after 8, sometime in there.
Okay.
Sometime between 8 and a quarter after, I think.
All right, so just so it's, you can kind of picture it here on the map. So you're going northbound, you make a left here, around like 8:10, 8:15. Let's say 8:15, around there. When you get over here, you make a U-turn, you go back to the McDonald's, but you said that she still doesn't want the McDonald's.
Still doesn't want it. She was just going to eat the Danishes that I had given her.
So you're going up here now, still northbound on Jungyang Parkway. You make a left at Town Center this time.
Town Center, then make a right onto, yes.
And then you drop her off around like
dropped her off around halfway up the road there.
So keep in mind, all of this is still northbound.
Okay.
Right? You're still northbound on Jungyang Parkway.
Northbound.
So why is your car seen going southbound at 8:10? I'll show you what location it is. McDonald's is over here.
Mm-hmm.
At 8:10, your car is seen going southbound at this intersection. So meaning going toward Kissimmee.
Mm-hmm. I had forgotten something. I had forgotten my gate clicker. I'm sorry. I forgot. I had gone back to the house real quick after we left because I forgot my gate clicker. I actually had to go through the front gate and use my parking pass to grab my clicker. So it was the wrong time. I'm sorry. Like I said, I was guesstimating these times. I'm not a morning person.
Okay.
So yes, we'd gone out.
How far did you get before you came back down? When you realized you forgot your clicker?
Nearly all the way to the school. And then we turned around. We had plenty of time to kill, so it was time to go back. I rushed back, got the clicker, and that's when I came back here this way.
So you guys came back here to get your clicker?
Correct.
So when we look at the cameras in the front, it's going to show you coming back in
Correct.
here with her in the car?
Yes, with her in the passenger seat,
okay.
Yes.
I know it sounds like we're asking you stupid questions, okay? We just want to verify
okay.
the times.
I'm sorry I'm not being more help. I'm not a morning person. I was half asleep as it was. I'm trying.
The clicker's to get where?
Into our neighborhood.
Okay, and you forgot the clicker where?
I had forgotten the clicker here.
So how did you get in?
I was able to use my parking sticker for them to scan to let me through.
Okay, so could you not have done that after you dropped her off?
I could have, but I also like to come back in from the back gate a lot of the times, and I didn't know if I would be back right away. And sometimes they're busy up front, so it's better not to wait in a line.
What time is security usually there at the front gate?
They were there when I came through. He scanned my ticket.
So would it have not just made more sense to drop her off and come back since security's already there?
I don't know if it made more sense. It's just what I did.
Anything that you remember maybe she might have told you?
She didn't mention anything in particular. I made a joke about her Crocs. She wears Crocs and socks. So we were joking about that.
Would she say she's usually like a happy, go-lucky girl?
Very happy. She brings a lot of joy. She's a very good girl. It definitely doesn't feel the same around here if she's not here. She was so happy, too. She was looking forward to my visit here. She was looking forward to us all being together. She was just happy. She was just very happy.
I'd say you guys have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah, definitely have a very strong bond. And she goes to when gets in a fight with her and she needs someone to comfort her. And like, I'm that person for her, you know. Good most of the time. You know. Not long ago, so she's getting the PMS mood swings, and they butt heads, and so as well as you can expect, but otherwise very loving, very loving. This girl knows nothing but love here in this house. She hardly ever hears the word no. Double-edged sword that is.
How is she in school?
So-so. She's so-so in school.
Like grade-wise?
She's doing a lot better, though. Apparently, she just made Student of the Week.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so we're very proud of her. She's doing singing, choir, and she's sounding just amazing. She sang for me last night. I immediately wanted to show her the movie Sister Act because of the choir singing. It was so pretty. It reminded me. I told her I was very proud of her.
Does she have, does she like video games, anything like that?
She does like video games, yeah. She plays Roblox, Minecraft. I think those are the two big ones that I know of.
You don't know her to like ever have any friends on there that she talks to, anything like that?
She does group chats. She does like voice chatting too on it, usually with like her cousins or her friends, and they'll all be playing Roblox or something, yelling at each other on the phone.
When was the last time you all lived together?
December.
December. You said the reason was for your parents down there?
Yeah, I'm going down to help them because they're getting on in age and they're making their end-of-life plans and they need someone to help out.
Can you unlock this one more time?
Sure.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you guys done?
No, we're good.
The other detective mentioned that you did not have your phone yesterday?
Correct.
Tell me about that.
I left my phone at home in the morning, too. I was so busy riding her to the door on time that I left my phone. She left her phone. We both left our phones.
Did you have your phone when you went to the smoke shop?
Not the first time after I dropped her off. I was still without it. I got my phone and went back to the smoke shop. Later when I got home.
And then I also noticed, I was checking your call history. I noticed that you don't have anything before this morning. Is that unusual on your phone?
No, it's a new phone. Stupid. I went to do an update yesterday morning, and I don't know what the pardon me. I don't know what the heck I did, but somehow during the massive OS update, I managed to factory reset my phone and lose all of my contacts, all my information.
What time was that? Do you remember?
Sometime while I was hanging out with Jen. Jen might know. I looked at her and said, what did I just do?
Okay.
She might know better. I don't know what time it was. It was when I was here with Jen.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions. Do you, Louis?
I don't know where my head was yesterday. It was so far up my backside.
That's okay. We understand. In the meantime, while we're waiting for all this to get sorted out, I am going to hold on to your phone, okay? I'll give it back to you when we're done. Okay? Do you have any questions for us?
How long are you going to need my phone?
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for my supervisor to call me.
My dad. No, it's just my dad's using that to get a hold of me and get updates.
They can call Jen's phone.
Okay.
Did the other detective give you his business card?
I believe so.
Okay, well, here's mine in case you want it for any reason.
Okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Do you swear that everything you told us is true?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. I know it's a little hectic right now. And then I know you were about to head somewhere. If you can just hang tight and refrain from going back in your car, please.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I was actually going to move it over a spot.
No, just leave it here. It's fine. Thank you.
What a balance police have to strike when interacting with someone that they may think is a suspect, but also have to handle like a victim who has lost someone who is like a daughter to them. Up next, we're going to bring you more from the scene there in Florida following the initial story that Sterns told police about what happened that morning that Madeline went missing. You don't want to miss that. Keep it here on Court TV.
I think he was a ticking time bomb.
Chaos in a courtroom as a defendant goes after a judge.
And now faces a jury for attempted murder.
The Judge Jumper attempted murder trial. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, a defendant attacks a judge, but was he legally insane at the time? We'll break down today's developments as this trial gets underway.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan. Tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV.
rolling coverage continues this hour on the murder of Madeline Soto. As the case continues to develop, throughout this hour, we've been showing you portions of a police interrogation with Stephan Sterns. He's the boyfriend of Madeline's mother, Jennifer, and he's also the man accused of Madeline's murder. But now we want to help you visualize that initial story. This was before Madeline's body was located. It's the story that Sterns told police that morning about her being missing and what he last remembered about dropping her off at school. Court TV producer Cody Thomas brings us more from the scene outside of Orlando.
Now that is the front gate to those Venetian Bay Villages apartments where Madeline Soto and her family lived. It's where her day began on February 26th, of course, the day she went missing. It's also where suspect Stephan Sterns says he picked her up before taking her to school. Now, as we can see, that is a heavily secured gate. There's a security guard in the little hut right there checking every single car that comes in, and there's plenty of cameras catching every single car that goes in and out. But there is also a back gate to the complex where Sterns could have exited the complex to take her to school that morning. So we're gonna go check that out right now. Now, this is the back gate to the Venetian Bay apartment complex where Madeline Soto and her family lived. You can see a car pulling in now. It is also the gate closest to that dumpster that's referenced a lot in the police reports. We know now that that dumpster is where police recovered Madeline Soto's book bag and her school-issued laptop. They say they have Stephan Sterns on camera throwing those items away in that dumpster the morning that Madeline went missing around 7:45 a.m. And I actually went and took some video of that dumpster earlier, and you can see that there are cameras right around where the dumpster is. So there's almost little to no doubt that those are the cameras that picked him up that police are referencing. And also, if you look closer to this back gate, you can see cameras looking right at every car that comes through those gates. And we do also know that police say they have video of Sterns returning to the complex with Madeline's body in the car the morning that she went missing when she was supposed to be at school. And of course, that is where police say they believe Madeline was already dead in the back of that car. But we are gonna follow more of Sterns' story. So now we're gonna take that drive from here, the Venetian Bay apartment complex, over to Peace United Methodist Church, where he says he dropped her off that morning before school. Now, something I am noticing on this drive to the church, we're going through plenty of busy intersections, all of which are flooded with security cameras. And my immediate thought is, if police don't already have it, they could probably track his entire route from the apartment complex to the church, and even from the church back to the apartment complex. Just something to think about as I'm going down this road from the Venetian Bay Apartments to Peace United Methodist Church. Now, we are arriving at Peace United Methodist Church here on my left. Again, we are following the story that Sterns says happened the morning of February 26th when Madeline Soto went missing. He says he picked her up and took her from the Venetian Bay Apartments here to the Peace United Methodist Church to drop her off before school. We are here now at that Peace United Methodist Church where Stephan Sterns says he dropped Madeline Soto off that morning of February 26th when she went missing. Now, take a look down this road, Town Loop Boulevard. You know, we got some cars here. It's very wide open. You can see almost anything going on in this church parking lot, in this green space in front of the church. And we were actually out here earlier this morning around that time, 8:30 a.m., that Stephan Sterns says he did drop Madeline off. Now, one more thing to note down this road. There's security cameras on top of almost every single light post. Now, police authorities say they have evidence of Madeline Soto in this parking lot at some point that day. We took a lap around the parking lot. We didn't really see any cameras in the church parking lot itself, but that's not to say there couldn't be a camera inside that points out the glass front doors that could have picked her up as well. But the most important thing to note about this location, just down this way, under this overpass, that's Hunters Creek Middle School. That's the school where Madeline Soto attends, where she was supposed to be walking that morning. So we're gonna take that walk right now and see how long it takes. Right now it's about 12:18-ish. So let's see what that walk may have looked like for Madeline Soto that morning. Now, as we walk down this road, we can see that it is pretty wide open. You know, for a 13-year-old girl to be walking by herself this length from this church to this school. And we also see a dump truck back here. There was construction going on just a little bit earlier. That means she might have had to stray off into the road to get around it. That could be pretty dangerous, pretty frightening for a young 13-year-old girl to be doing this by herself. Now again, as we're here walking, cars are steadily coming by. And when we were out here earlier this morning during that morning rush, there were way more cars coming by, lots of visibility, ample amounts of visibility from the road. Right now it's about lunchtime, so there's a little less. But again, around 8:30 this morning, way more cars than we're seeing right now. So it is a very busy road here on Town Loop Boulevard as we make our way from Peace United Methodist Church down to Madeline School, Hunters Creek Middle School. Now this here is the site of that construction we did see earlier. The construction workers may be on a lunch break right now, but earlier they were coming across the sidewalk, so the entire sidewalk was blocked off. And again, who's to say that wasn't going on that morning? Whatever they are here doing, whatever they're trying to improve, Madeline may have had to stray off right here into the main busy road, which again, very dangerous for a young girl, very dangerous for anybody, but especially a young 13-year-old girl out here by herself walking to school that morning. Now we are here under this overpass on this walk from the church to the school. This is Highway 417 here in Orlando. Very busy road. Now again, we know she was supposed to be out here in the daytime, the early morning hours of February 26th. But even in the day, it gets a little dark under here. You know, you can still see, but it gets a little dark. It could be a little spooky, a little scary, again, for a 13-year-old young girl walking out here by herself. Now, we did just clear under that underpass. Again, that was Highway 417 here in Orlando, approaching Hunters Creek Middle School, the middle school where Madeline Soto attended. Of course, we now know that she never made it to school that day on February 26th. Her mother showed up around 4:30 p.m. just to be informed that Madeline Soto did not make it. Now, I'm looking down at my watch. That walk took between 6 and 7 minutes, which is, to me, a long way for a 13-year-old girl to be walking by herself that morning. And again, we do know that Madeline Soto never made it to school on that fateful day.
Let's bring back in National Trial Attorney Michael Jaffer, who is watching this. Our thanks to Cody Thomas for that really close-up look at this scene so that we can imagine what Stephan Sterns is telling police, claiming he was in this location or that location. Michael Jaffer, I know you are a great defense attorney. You mentioned this is going to be a challenging case for whoever takes it. Do you think they are going to plead this one out or take their chances at a trial?
That's a great question, Julia. If a plea is offered that saves him from the death penalty, I don't see how any defense attorney worth his salt would not beg his client to take it. That's a great question. I didn't even think about it. But yes, if they offer him a plea, because if I was a defense attorney and with the facts that I'm seeing here, if they offered you life without parole, I would take it. Now, what I will also say that gave me heartburn as a defense attorney, because I was looking at it from the defense attorney's standpoint during those interviews, what gave me heartburn was just how well those investigators accommodated the Fifth Amendment. They carefully did it. They didn't even know she was dead at that point. I would be so frustrated as a defense attorney watching that, because they never told him, let me look at your phone. They said, can I look at your phone? They didn't say, let me look at your Google Maps. They said, can I look at your Google Maps? And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead, look at everything, right? That's what you hope as an investigator. And it was all recorded, right? So I see no avenue for the defense attorney to say any of this stuff is a fruit of the poisonous tree. I don't see how any technicality would apply to kick any of this stuff out of a court, because that would be your only way as a defense attorney. Is you want that entire video erased. You just don't want, you wish that it just didn't exist and all you had to deal with was the fact that, you know, he had child pornography and there was some video footage of her body in his car. You wish that that's all you could contend with, because this girl, poor soul, she did have a history of running away. So like, if you're a defense attorney and you don't have to contend with all the inaccuracies and all the misstatements in that video, you're happy, but you're not going to be happy because you do have to contend with it. And they accommodated his Fifth Amendment rights. Look, something happened to this young man at the proper developmental stage. He took a wrong turn. He turned into a monster. He's a sociopath. You saw it. He was very narcissistic by even talking, because at that time he knew he killed her, right? Allegedly, he knew he killed her, and yeah, he was talking to them, and he just could not stop talking. So
I love that you pulled out those issues of the Fifth Amendment and how they were careful to go around it. Michael Jaffer, thank you for all of that insight.